Okay, one of my favorite combinations of theme and plugin is Beaver Builder. I don't get paid by them in any way, so this is a unsolicited review, not a review, but just kind of how I work. So we're going to go into the theme mostly today. This is going to be a couple of different parts in this series, so we'll cover the theme, but I make some changes to my theme folders when I first get started. So if we're using MAMP, so you can look at those older videos if you'd like, but in my MAMP install, in the content folder, in the themes folder, you'll see the BB theme and the BB theme child. So when you buy Beaver Builder and you upgrade to the Pro version, I believe it is, it's like $200 a year, you get the plugin, the page builder, if you will, and then you get their theme. I love their theme. It's very simple. It's very straightforward. You don't have to fight against it to do the designs that you want. So I tend to use that combination quite a bit. But what I want to do today is go over how I mess with my child theme before I get started at all. Because if you do what I'm going to show you now, after setting up, after like video 2, after setting up your basic site, you will lose a lot of your settings. So what we're going to do is we're going to customize our child theme for our make-believe client, if you will. And then we'll finish this video, and then we will move over to how I actually go through setting up a, like when I first get started. So, all right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag my child theme into my Sublime, which is what I use for my text editor, so that I can see all the files. And I will make this large enough so that it is easy to read for the video. Okay, so the very first thing I will do is I will change the name of the folder to represent my client. And I mostly do that just because they're going to see, like when they come back in here and they look at this list, they're going to see the name of the theme, and we're going to change it in 2 places. So, and you can see now that the child is active. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to change the name of this to, I'm going to say Mad Cow Child Theme. We'll just pretend that Mad Cow is our client, and then I guess I'll just remove this for now, and then re-add it. So now it's called Mad Cow Child Theme. I'm going to drag it back into Sublime so I can see everything. And the other thing I'm going to do is in the style sheet, and we're going to make a different style sheet, but we'll cover that here in a minute. But I actually am going to change the theme name here. So I'm going to call this the Mad Cow Child Theme, because our client, we're just going to pretend, is Mad Cow Web. And then all this stuff you can certainly adjust if you want. You can also like read the WordPress instructions on building a child theme, because you don't need all of this stuff. So if this were a real one that I was doing for an actual client, I would probably put in the Mad Cow Web website in here, and then as the author, I could certainly, this could be Mad Cow Web Design. You can grab all these things and make them your own for sure, and then you could even do Mad Cow Web here instead. Which is pretty handy. The one thing you cannot change is this template. So that's the only really important thing. This is not a discussion about child themes, so I apologize for that. But you do need a theme name, and you do need the template, and it's all in this comment thing, but we're not going to cover that today. So anyway, so this is my style sheet. So if I save this and I don't do anything else, I'm going to close this and I go back over here and I refresh. It's going to throw me out of the child theme because it doesn't really know what I'm doing, because I activated that and then I changed everything. So you can see now how you would lose all of your settings if you had done that, through the course of this. But now it says Mad Cow Child Theme right there. And if I click on the details, I now see a link to my site, and then you see the name up here, and you can change this stuff all to go to all to talk about your business. This is, Mad Cow Web did this awesome thing, whatever, and you can change all that stuff just right in here in the style sheet. So we're not going to mess with that, but what we are going to do is we're going to activate this one so that our child theme is now active, and you'll see this guy just go away. So now we're back to what we started with. Okay, the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mess around a little bit with the style sheet And this is just something that has been driving me batty for a while, and I've made the change because I get tired of dealing with caching. So what basically happens now, whether you're at SiteGround or WP Engine or whatever you use for your hosting, there's some sort of caching going on. Heck, for that matter, your browser is also doing caching. We all kind of know that. So what I like to do is add a little bit of extra code in here so that my style sheet is not being cached. And so where you would normally do that is in here in the functions.php. However, Beaver Builder does their they do their child theme enqueuing in a little different spot. You can see here they're requiring this class FLChildTheme. So if I go into classes and then go to the child theme, now I can see where they're actually pulling in the child theme styles. I will put this code, by the way, in I will put this in the show notes, in the video notes. But what I typically do is I have a where is it? Right in here. I have this folder called Site Stuff, very creative name. And then in here I have this child theme styles snippet. So this is going to be kind of a mess, but just know that all we actually have to use is this guy. We don't. This one is for just a regular generic theme. You can certainly use this. And then I also have one in here for Divi. I used to use Divi, the Divi builder, the Divi theme actually, which includes the builder quite a bit. But for our purposes, we're going to use this, and this is what I will put in the video notes. And I put this in here just so I don't have to remember it, just don't have to go, relearn every time. So basically, if I just paste this down here, you can see there's no real magic here. What I've basically done is just copied this entire thing and then just added my own style. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this because we know that we're going to use ours now. And then in 1 second here, I'm going to explain what's happening here. But and I'm going to call this madcow-styles. Okay. And then I'm going to call this madcow. I'm not going to put a hyphen in there, actually. So madcow-styles. Okay. Now I'm going to save this. And then before I go any further, we need to have this. This file needs to exist. So in my madcow child theme, which I've created, I'm going to create a new file. Actually, I can do that from right here. I can do a new file, and I'm going to call that, madcow-styles.css. Is that right? Yes. Okay. So what this is a new style sheet. So we do have our existing style sheet, which is absolutely required for a child theme. It pulls in our template. We have our name and all that stuff. But we are not going to add any styles to this. We are going to use madcow-styles. And what's happening in our enqueue here is that it is going and grabbing the directory, which is, it's going to grab the child theme directory, which is the get style sheet directory function from WordPress. It's a native WordPress thing. And then it's going into our folder, and then in that folder is a file called madcow-styles, which we put right here. And then it's enqueuing that. But what it's doing, I'm going to make this a little bit wider. The trick that's happening here is this WP enqueue style is the exact thing that you can Google this, and the WordPress developer documentation will show you what all these separate things mean. But the important thing we're doing here is we're concatenating, we're adding on to the end of the file. So basically it's going to be madcow-styles.css and then this file time. So what it's going to do is anytime our madcow-styles.css is saved and then pushed back up to the server through FTP, and of course we're local here on MAP, but anytime it's saved, it's going to go and re-enqueue that, and when it does that, it's going to dump a file time of the time it was saved onto the end of the file. So what that means is, if you can imagine that the file name is madcow-styles.css and then the date, the time, the second, everything that when that happens, that your browser has to go out and grab a new style sheet every single time. It's not the most efficient for speed, of course, but while you're developing, I use this all the time so that it will not cache my styles, and then anytime I hit refresh on my browser, it's not reading the old style sheet. This is forcing the browser to go grab a new one because the file names do not match. So, as I mentioned, I'll put this in the notes, but this is the one really big change that I make is I create my style sheet and then I add this, I add my new Enqueue into that class FLChildTheme file, and that's it. So now I have a madcow-styles, which you can do just like you normally do. Color red, font size 3M, whatever you want to do. It doesn't matter because now those styles are being saved and those styles are being read because of this, and it's not reading, it's completely ignoring style.css. What you will also know, and I'll actually make a change to this, I'm going to say an awesome example, just so that I can show you that even though I've changed that, I've added that, and I've adjusted this Enqueue, when I refresh this page, it still says madcow-child, and now it says an awesome example. So it's still using that style.css to get its core information, but as far as the styles are concerned, they're always going to be pulled from my fancy new function here, which is going to add the file time at the end. Okay. So those are the main changes that I make to the child theme. The next thing we're going to do is actually set up the, just set up our page and our layout in the Beaver Builder theme and plugin combination.